Okay, now we're going to move along to Outlook. In Outlook, the Outlook Unit A was mostly about email. If I were to ask you, what is email? How do you use email? It's really hard to describe sometimes, except for it's almost the opposite of snail mail. I mean, it's a lot faster, it's a lot easier to use as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot of things that you can do with email that is very difficult to do with snail mail. The email is just electronic mail where you can send messages to each other. It requires an email software. What are some of the softwares that, or the internet? What are some of them that can be used? How about Outlook, Yahoo, Gmail? You've got so many others. Hotmail, sccd.edu. Have you ever wondered why your school email is my.sccd.edu instead of like mine, which is fresnocitycollege.edu? Well, for students, our college, fresnocitycollege.edu, is part of the State Center Community College District, which includes Reedley, Clovis, Fresno, Madera, Oakhurst, and some other satellite facilities. So mail, since you can go to any of those campuses, your email account comes out of our district office, which is at State Center Community College District. So that's why you have a different email address than I do. What are some of the advantages of email? It's fast communication. You can communicate with multiple people at the same time. You can establish a record of your communication, and you can request delivery receipts. Some of the disadvantages is you can't see people's face to face, and you don't know their body language, and you can misinterpret a message. Email cannot be taken back after it's sent. And some people overuse email instead of calling or talking to a person in person, going and seeing them. There's 3 different parts of an email address. If you look at my email address right down here, and do not send me emails to this account because I don't use this account. It's one that I use for demonstration purposes only. The first part is the username, that krice46, it's the username. The @ is just a separator. Then Hotmail is the service provider. And then the .com. So you've got so many .com, .edu. We talked about those already. Some of the options, I'm going to open up a new email account. Some of the options that you can do is that you can attach items, attach a file. You can follow up on an email. If you know this email you're sending, you expect an answer by tomorrow. If you click on this tomorrow, you will get a message tomorrow reminding you about this email. You can say if it's high importance, low importance. You can do some other things. Options. You can attach a blind carbon copy. And what that is that the person in the blind carbon copy receives a copy of it secretly. The other recipients will not know that this person received a copy of the email. You can request a delivery receipt or a read receipt. The difference is a delivery receipt, you don't know that the person actually read it item. They received the email, but once they open the email, if you click read receipt, you will then get a copy, an email saying that they actually read the email. You can format your text however you want. There's your spelling and grammar. Be sure to use that. It's hard to get an email when the spelling is so bad that you can't read the document. Okay. And what happens if you get an email like this? If you worked for me and at about 11:30 in the morning, you received an email from me like this. Not only like that, If I take this and I make it bold and I make it bigger and I send you an email like that, what would you think? Well, I don't know about you, but I would not be happy. I would be scared. I would think that something was wrong. But what I really meant, since it was 11:30 in the morning, get a hold of me right away before you go to lunch, because I'd like to take you to lunch. Boy, wouldn't that sort of surprise you? When you use bold and you use all capitals and you use exclamation points, a lot of people compare that as though you are yelling at someone. So take that into consideration. You know, it would be a lot softer if it were sort of italic and if I explained myself better. So don't let your emails be misinterpreted. So I'm going to go ahead and close this, since I'm not going to send it. You've got different folders here. You've got your sent items. You've got your deleted items. Be careful if you don't clear out all these folders, your email box may get overloaded. If I click in here to my email, if you take a look at this, I told you I don't use this very often. My inbox, I've got 303 in that blue. That blue number there means I have 303 items I haven't even read yet. So if I go down here, all of these in the bold, I've never even looked at those emails. So I can go way back and see I've never looked at them. So I better get my email cleaned out pretty soon. I've got 81 junk emails. Spam that has come to me, junk or spam that has come to me. So I need to clean those out too. And then I've got deleted items here that I haven't cleaned out. If I don't get going and get this cleaned out, people get messages saying that my mailbox is full. So, but one thing I do have here, when you're trying to organize your emails, when you get emails and you want to get them sorted out so you've got them in different directories, when you get your inbox, you can right click just like we did to set up your directory tree. If I click here on new folder and I create a new folder, like say I have several classes and one of my classes 24515, that's the section number of the class. I can set up, see here I've got a new folder here. When I get emails, I can click on one of these emails and drag it over here to that folder, so that when I get emails from students that are in that class, I can drag those over. So if I'm wanting to look at emails from a certain class all at once, I click there, all those emails are there together. So that's really, really helpful. Now, once you do get an email, what can you do with it? There's many things that you can do. One of the things you can do is you can move it to another folder, or you can copy it, you can respond to it, you can forward it, any of those things. I also can categorize it. If I get a category here, and I've changed some of these, this is family, I've got the green category. If I click on that green category, see how it's going to label this with green? Now, if I go over here and I want to make this is schoolwork, okay? Now, if I were to go through here and try and find all of my school emails, it's a whole lot easier if they're color-coded. And when we get into the other things on Outlook B, you can use this same color coding on all of these different areas. When you create, one of the things that you're going to want to do, and that's one thing I want you to do Wednesday, is I want you to create an address book. On your address book, I want you to set up friends, and I'm trying to get this. You can set up your fellow students that are in your groups. Set them up in your address book to where you don't have to type their name over and over again. And then at that point, after you set up your address book, you can also set up groups. And then once, see, I've got one here, a group that says best friends. and I've got a group that says favorites. So all of these can be grouped together, and it makes it so much easier. Then you can set up a group. Maybe you want to name it AT10 group, and then you can send it just to all of those people. The last thing I want to talk about real quick is electronic etiquette. What do you need to do to be politically correct in your emails? You don't need to send confidential information. Be careful. Emails can be hacked. There's a lot of things that can happen to emails. So be careful and don't send it confidential. Be careful what you say and how you say it. In the example that I gave you, emails can be misinterpreted. Is email considered the property of the company you work for, or is it your personal email? Well, that's really controversial, and it's still in the courts under consideration, but everything that I have heard is that they are leaning towards this. You are doing this on company computers. It's probably company property. Be considerate. Consider the attached file size. Don't send huge files unless the people know that they're coming. Delete suspicious email. If you receive an email and you do not know who it's from, like this, I don't know who it's from, delete it. Don't open it, because viruses, phishing emails, all of those things can come through there. And once you open it, your computer is in jeopardy. Read your email before sending it. You can't take it back. Limit the use of emoticons. How many of you know what an emoticon is? An emoticon is is like this and like, okay? You know what emoticons are. First of all, there are people like me that don't know what all of the emoticons mean. And others, sometimes they are not appropriate. If you're dealing with friends, maybe you're okay. Don't include them in business emails. Okay? And like I already said, maintain your account and delete messages not needed, so your senders, the people who are sending them to you, don't receive messages saying that your email is full. Okay, so I'm going to let you go on with your next reading Outlook Unit B, and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye.